Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you what I think to be the most overpowered Amon build in Borderlands 4. Now, Amon kind of does it all. He's got Ordnance, he's got melee, and you can pop off of some crazy builds just like this one here, which will refund, giving us infinite amounts of ammo to shred through bosses in Ultimate Vault Hunter 5. So you can see here, you can just infinitely fire your Ordnance and it will shred through the boss's health bar pretty quickly here. So yeah, this is a vault boss here. You can see on the right hand side, not losing our ammo, and we're also able to tank all of the damage here and also keep our overshield up. So it's absolutely insane what you can do here with this setup. Since we're going to be setting up cryo damage often with something like an Atling gun, or really you don't have to even use this because we can add cryo damage on with our skill tree here with the tail of the comet, which is allowing us to get this infinite damage and infinite ammo back from the primal surge. And with specific class mods that can give us the endless bombardment, we literally will not run out of ammo. It's crazy. And with single dips into adding critical hit damage, you don't even need the specialization here. I just realized the damage wasn't even optimized. I didn't have the right specializations on here. Because we can add our gun damage to our ordnance there, which I did not have equipped, and then this additional damage on critical hits here, which massively boosts our DPS. You can get some really good class mods here that add additional 45% ordnance damage, 20% damage dealt, and then a critical hit chance to our ordnances. But we can also use something like the Shatterweight class mod, which will add our melee damage to our Forge Wave. So that attack that I did at the start is really useful, actually, because you can do a lot of damage with it, and you stay protected with your shield in front, which has been fixed to not block the screen as much. This also gives you a flat out 45% cryo damage increase, which we do a lot of. The nice part about this, if you don't find a cyborg class mod, the Gladiator is another good choice too. So he's got lots of great class mods, even if you're not able to find a legendary. Even things like the Forge Master is great, because this lets us use our Forge skills multiple times, which will activate Berserk, which is one of the best skill abilities in Amon skill trees. And then also there's only red. So we are going to go into the red skill tree, but give us huge boost to our DPS and survivability. The nice thing about this build is it's actually powerful throughout the entire game because Scourge Kairos is such a good ability. So here we get a 30% boost to our ordnance damage and increase our magazine size. It's just a good skill, and this takes us into the tail of the comet. So whenever we deal ordnance damage, Amon really benefits from using grenades. So as long as you have a good throwing grenade, ideally a heavy grenade, you're going to be dealing good damage in the early game. This game, Borderlands kind of feels sometimes like you're just waiting for your grenade cooldowns to come back. Amon's kind of the same deal because he has huge burst damage when it's up because of the tail of the comet, giving you the cryo status effect that deals damage over time. Now, this is a very important thing because when we deal damage over time, we set up our further skills. Now, Ancient Ways deals additional cryo damage. Really good. We want that. This takes us to our augments. Now, the cryonic thrum here is really good because this will taunt enemies. If you're playing with friends, this is amazing because it'll restore their health and make sure that the boss and enemies are attacking you. And this is good because you have the most survivability out of everybody. But Blast Chill is okay too. This does burn through your vengeance, so you're less tanky. It's more high damage if you're playing solo. But I would say that I was using the Eternal Winter at the start. It's my favorite. It actually got buffed where the massive Forge Wave now does double damage. It previously did a lot less, but that was a pretty big buff that they gave it. This will also restore your action skill duration, so you can keep your action skill up pretty much almost indefinitely here just by spamming the Forge Waves. And the third activation will do that big Forge Wave that deals additional damage and does not cost the Vengeance there. So that's really good. Now we get to one of our most powerful skills with Icy Rage. So whenever we kill an enemy, we get a Cryo Affinity stack. This will give us a 6.25% damage buff per stack, and we can give 5 stacks to this. Now, we can come down here whenever we deal ordnance damage, we'll consume that, but it's not as good as Primal Surge. Whenever we deal apply a status effect to an enemy, there's a chance to partially restore his shield and ammo. Now, this kind of comes full circle because here, whenever we deal ordnance damage, we apply status effects on the enemies. 30% chance. This now gives 30% ammo back when we apply a status effect. This almost loops together pretty well. If you have a heavy ordnance, you're now going to, at level 25, have really good amount of uptime on that. This leads us to the Glacial Rupture. Now, there's 2 good choices. The Firewall has a 50-second cooldown, and it's going to buff up your ordnances. So if you find that you're leaning more into the ordnance, use this. If you're using more of the action skill and using Eternal Winter and just spamming the Forge Waves, use Glacial Rapture there, which will deal cryo damage over time. It's not going to be as high damage, in my experience, than the Firewall, which is a flat-out boost of the speed and damage of it, but it's still really good. I use it at the start, and I think it's a fine one. It just increases the skill cooldown by 60 seconds, which does prolong the time that we take to get to Berserk, which is what we're leading into now with the Onslaughter. Now, Heavy Plate is just really good. This gives us maximum overshield capacity 45% and maximum shield capacity 35%. So flat out increase our overall survivability, which is further buffed up because we can get some extra healing. Now, I like to take one stack of Gut Punch here because this now gives our Ordnance a chance to apply a debuff where the enemy deals 40% less damage to us and we deal 20% more damage. Really good because our fast firing Ordnance will set this up immediately. Now, Wield the Storm is also really good because status effect damage is affected by Tail of the Comet. I think this is a good, meaningful one because this will also increase the damage and duration, and we're going to be applying statuses, so works. Forge and Steel can give us 6 seconds of immunity whenever we activate our either Glacial Rupture or the Firewall, which is really nice, especially if you use a class mod that gives you a second activation of it for free. However, we also have the Bullet Storm here. Whenever we apply a status effect, we get increased gun damage for a duration. And this gun damage does loop back around and add to our action skill as well as our melee damage. Now, you saw earlier I showed off this build without any of the big buffs. You're going to see it increase our damage a lot more here, and this just allows us to scale up pretty quick. At this point, just go and take Berserk. I do like Bloodlust, but it doesn't fit on this build. It fits on some other builds well, but Berserk is way better because this will give us bonus cryo damage, and bonus damage is really good in Borderlands. This also gives us slow immunity, and we get that bonus damage on gun and melee. But the thing is, gun damage is going to be a lot of our damage, and that's cryo damage. So then we also get There Is Only Red. This is a kill skill whenever Amon kills an enemy while Berserk is active. Partially restore Berserk's duration. This used to be 9 seconds. It's only 4 seconds now, so it is kind of a tough thing to keep up. But whenever you see that you're in Berserk, you'll see the sides of your screen goes red and like kind of icy. You want to just start taking out any trash mobs if you feel like you're going to be down on this, because this gives you 4 seconds, and then you get additional damage. So basically, when you pop this, just go shred through everything you can. Focus on the boss, but focus on the mobs a little bit more. And this takes us down to our last skill point. Now, you can take this a little bit earlier. The Blackout Ordnance damage has a chance to critically hit, and then critical hits from direct Ordnance damage apply shock. So it's even further adding damage to our ability, and Ordnance is there, which is really nice. Blackout did get changed on the latest patch as well, but this is going to be what we'll do for skill tree. It was mentioned a little earlier, the class mods are really great for Amon, Cyborg, and Grenadier for 2 purples. Honestly, way better than what he can get for the legendary class mods, but this gives us, if you can get this roll, this is obviously the ideal one. It's really hard to get this, but the 20% damage, 45% Ordnance damage, and then Ordnance critical hit. Gadgets Ahoy, 3 out of 3 for that will give us additional Ordnance damage, 20%, Ordnance cooldown duration, and also additional damage from that. If you can get thrown, 2 of these would be nice to get the extra splash radius, but this also gives additional projectile speed, which has been fixed to work properly. If you get the Blacksmith class mod, it's interesting because it'll give you the Forge drones, and if you're able to get that, it's probably a little bit better to try to get into the further skill tree to get My Touch's Death, because whenever you deal melee damage, which the Forge drones all do, it'll activate your kill skills, so you can activate all your kill skills really quickly with this class mod, because it gives you 3 of the different the Forge drones. So that one's nice. Forge Master, again, can give you your Forge skill back, and the Shatter White is a really good one as well because it'll add melee damage to your Forge wave, so this boosts up their damage quite a bit. Now, I also like the Super Soldier. This just makes a lot of sense. When our energy shields are full, we get an increased fire rate, and also we generate ammo. This also comes with the Siphon and Sturdy, so obviously that's pretty solid. You can get one with range shields because we can get overshield pretty easily, but I think that this works fine. Watch for Dinner also works really good. This one with the amp shield is also pretty effective, but I like the Super Soldier on this build a little bit more. Now, I got this one here giving us increased gun damage, and this one also gives us Vladoff parts, will give us additional projectile per shot. This just works really well because we're using Vladoff here, so we may as well use everything that we possibly can get Vladoff. Heavy ordinances are really weird. So this is a heavy gun ordinance. I kind of want to tie these two together because there's grenade ordinances and heavy gun ordinances. Heavy gun ordinances will benefit from gun damage buffs twice. It's kind of weird how they work because the specialization will also apply to it. So gun damage is increased 25%. This is a gun, so it gets that boost, and then the gunfire rate is also increased. The Vladoff licensed parts have a 30% chance for an extra projectile, and also will have a 20% fire rate in magazine size. So that really buffs this up. There are some other ones here that you can go with. The magazine size is quite nice too if you don't want the fire rate. And this one comes with the Jacob parts if you wanted to use the Jacob's gun instead. But the Atlan gun is my personal favorite. You can get one without any type of elemental damage. It'll do around 30k DPS. This one cuts it down by 7k to 23k, but the cryo efficiency is extremely good because we're applying those statuses to buff up our damage. I also like the radiation one if you're mobbing or fired. It really just depends. The rocket socket, really good one. The Udka, really any of the rockets, tongue wag, purples are amazing here. Honestly, better than some of the others. Bottled lightning is amazing if you're mobbing because you can just hit a huge area effect with this. And the streamer is good too because they'll shoot a beam. Really, there's so many good ones here. Disc jockey, you can shoot this at the floor and it'll bounce up. And then also for our Repkit, I like to go with the war paint here because this gives you increased fire rate. You can also go with something like the triple bypass there, and this one gives the overshield as well. If you go with the specialization, you get your action skill cooldown back pretty quickly. And this one comes with increased splash damage, so that one can be really powerful too, especially because you can spam this 3 times. As for weapons, really, you're going to be using your ordinances and your action skill mostly, but these are here too if you don't have a cooldown, because you can spam both your action skill and your grenades and basically get them back. But the bod, always going to be a good one, 3% extra damage per shot. You can get this hitting multiple times, restoring your ammo and taking out enemies really easily. Whiskey Foxtrot is a really fun one. This has the Torglace and stickies as well on it. It's a Vlad-off, so it works really well with the setup that we have here. I personally really enjoy the Whiskey Foxtrot, but it's not for everyone. TK's Wave, very powerful. These can also come with the Torglace and stickies. These are great because they explode, and we have any buff to our overall explosion, so it works here. And then this one also is the Jacob, so it can actually bounce around to multiple enemies. Aegeon's Dreams, also another nice one. This is another one that comes with the Torglace and stickies. And this also comes with, it's a Vlad-off gun. So there's a lot of really good Vlad-offs. The Wombo combo, my personal favorite is probably the Wombo combo here. So I'm going to throw that back on. Lucian's Flank is great because this will restore your bullets. And it's another Vlad-off gun. So we have a lot of Vlad-offs here that work really well. Now, again, I forgot to put these on at the start of the video, so that's why the boss went down a little slower than normal, but the ordnance damage will now benefit from increases to gun damage. So every increase to gun damage will get 50% of that now on our ordnance, which is crazy because our ordinances also get gun damage. So if we get a 50% increase to gun damage, that's actually a 75%. So pretty crazy. We also then have the fragmented payload there, so that gives us a critical hit chance and increased 50% damage on critical hits. This is great because we do have multiple ways to get a critical hit chance on our ordinances. Really do this for plus 50%, actually 75% ordinance damage. And then also the breast defense. This gives us 30% extra damage when our health is full, and we got pretty good shields. We're going to keep those up. And Tripwire is actually kind of funny too, because this will give you ordnance cooldown whenever you use your action skills. So this has some merit on this build as well. So when we get into fights, we want to pop our shield up, and you can see we get our action skill back. You can see that down the bottom middle. So as long as you're spamming this, you're going to be doing a lot of damage. This is an Ultimate Vault Hunter 5. And then you can press and hold to do your Forge skill there, which will do the damage over time. And this is when we want to pop our Ordnance, which we're going to have our shield up protecting us, getting us infinite ammo, and it's going to lock onto the enemy just like that. It's actually absurd. And you're also really good with guns like the Wombo combo. It's going to do a ton of damage. You can then pop your action skill there, and it's kind of bounced between the two of these. I really like this build because his action skill is actually pretty solid. You can see they were freezing enemies in place. They can't even make it towards us. And you can literally just spam this, keeping it up infinitely. So you don't have to use your grenades or your ordinances. You can also hold your shield up and just shoot here away with something like the Wombo combo, and it's going to deal a really good amount of damage there. This is a Cryo Wombo combo as well, so it's getting the benefits that we have to the cryo damage there. And then when all else fails, you just pull out the Atling gun and it just shreds through everything. You can also take off your augment here and then put up the forge wall like this. And then with something like the disc jockey, you can just bounce it off of the ground like that. And it's going to bounce through, get a crazy amount of extra damage. You get a bunch of overshield so your health doesn't go down. And what's silly about this is you literally don't even have to aim, and it's just going to take out everything in its path. But the thing is, you don't really even need your forge skill to get crazy amounts of damage here. Like, I didn't even activate the forge skill, and just using something like that, we literally destroy the boss immediately. This is the rocket socket. So yeah, that's what I think to be the most powerful Amon build in Borderlands 4. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you all in the next one.